We are on day 62 of the year, and we are going to just start with a quick review of some of the preceding lessons, and then we will dive into today's. We are going to start with a review of lesson 31 onward. Lesson 31, I am not the victim of the world I see. Lesson 32, I have invented the world I see. Lesson 33, there is another way of looking at the world. Lesson 34, I could see peace instead of this. Lesson 35, my mind is part of God's. I am very holy. Lesson 36, my holiness envelops everything I see. Lesson 37, my holiness blesses the world. Lesson 38, there is nothing my holiness cannot do. Lesson 39, my holiness is my salvation. Lesson 40, I am blessed as a son of God. Lesson 41, God goes with me wherever I go. Lesson 42, God is my strength. Vision is his gift. Lesson 43, God is my source. I cannot see apart from him. Lesson 44, God is the light in which I see. Lesson 45, God is the mind with which I think. Lesson 46, God is the love in which I forgive. Lesson 47, God is the strength in which I trust. Lesson 48, there is nothing to fear. Lesson 49, God's voice speaks to me all through the day. Lesson 50, I am sustained by the love of God. And now we're going to move to our lesson for the day, lesson 62. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. It is your forgiveness that will bring the world of darkness to the light. It is your forgiveness that lets you recognize the light in you, in which you see. Forgiveness is the demonstration that you are the light of the world. Through your forgiveness does the truth about yourself return to your memory. Therefore, in your forgiveness lies your salvation. Illusions about yourself and the world are one. That is why all forgiveness is a gift to yourself. Your goal is to find out who you are, having denied your identity by attacking creation and its creator. Now you are learning how to remember the truth, for this attack must be replaced by forgiveness, so that thoughts of life may replace thoughts of death. Remember that in every attack you call upon your own weakness, while each time you forgive, you call upon the strength of Christ in you. Do not then begin to understand what forgiveness will do for you. It will remove all sense of weakness, strain, and fatigue on your mind. It will take away all fear and guilt and pain. It will restore the invulnerability and power God gave his Son to your awareness. Let us be glad to begin and end this day by practicing today's idea and to use it as frequently as possible throughout the day. It will help to make the day happy as for you as God wants you to be. And it will help those around you, as well as those who seem to be far away in space and time, to share this happiness with you. As often as you can, closing your eyes if possible, say to yourself today, forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. I would fulfill my function that I may be happy. Then devote a minute or two considering your function and happiness and the release it will bring you. Let related thoughts come freely, for your heart will recognize these words, and in your mind is the awareness that they are true. Should your mind wander, repeat the idea and add, I would remember this because I want to be happy. Well, good morning, first off. Y'all, we just got right to the heart of it in today's lesson. Yesterday's lesson was, I am the light of the world. And one of the things that was brought up is that it is actually ego that would share effectively any counter thought to our identity. It would be ego to say, oh no, I'm not good enough to be the light of the world. Oh no, that's not who I am. Any narrative, any program in our mind that goes counter to who God says that we are is ego. And at the end of the day, it's so interesting because ego, so often we think of ego as something that would self-inflate and self-glorify us. But sometimes ego can actually be the very thing that keeps us small, that keeps us from shrinking back from being able to step into the fullness of our identity. And our identity, as God would have it, is that we are the light of the world. We are to be cities on a hill. We are to be love. We are to be light. And in that fulfillment of that identity is actually stepping into the power that is yours and that's mine. And this is what's really, really interesting, is that if we were to really step into that power, it's going to actually look different for each one of us, because each one of us was made so different. But each one of us has the same powering source. So effectively, each one of us, if we're having God as our source, then we're going to be able to step into the fullness of who we were uniquely created to be. So it's like the same source, but different manifestations across the board, because we're all made so, so, so different. And so yesterday, where it was talking about ego would keep us small, and ego is the antithesis of stepping into basically who God says that we are. Today, she talked about identity. And so I was thinking about identity yesterday in relation to the Knowing show last night, but I decided to take a step back and just say, okay, well, how do we know who we are? But tonight, I want to dive deeper into identity. How do we step into and walk in the fullness of our identity? Because identity is something, it's like when you join the military, the role of a Marine. And actually, I was watching A Few Good Men on my flight this weekend. For those of you who haven't seen it, first, such a good movie. It's about this court case with these two Marine officers. And it was really, really fascinating watching it, because the lawyer in the film is a naval officer, and he's obviously representing these two Marines. And these two Marines will not neglect the code. That's how they're defining it. It's like, this is our code. This is who we are. We chose to be Marines because of this code of, I think it's Marines first, like God second, or the Corps first, God second, country third. I think that there's something else in there. But what's so interesting is that the Marines are given this identity, and they're like, hey, this is who you are. And then they choose to operate in that identity. That's so much of what God is doing for every single one of us. He's like, hey, by the way, this is who you are. This is how great you are. This is how beautiful, how powerful, how magnificent, how much you can and should be able to shine if you're willing to basically walk in this order of God. And so just like how the Marines have an order, just like how the Marines have a code, and they're all known by this code, it's the same way with us acting in the realm of acting in the order of God. And you hear this term, the order, like even just my darling loves King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, and like that was the order of King Arthur. And so with this whole concept of acting in the order and acting almost like falling in the ranks, there's something around us in terms of submitting to God and who God says that we are, that's really a powerful and beautiful thing. There's stability in that, because that identity is not ever going to shake. And that's how God sees us. He sees us in this incredibly powerful and potent way. And then it's our choice. Am I going to step into the rank and order of the King of Kings? Am I going to step into the rank and the order of who God says that I am? And so much of that has to do with being the light and being a city on a hill and taking up space. And in that process, we then get to change the entire environment in which we find ourselves. We get to usher in the presence of God. As long as we're stepping into our identity, God is right there with us. And so just going back to what she says here, which is just so, so, so potent. She says, illusions about yourself and the world are one. This is why all forgiveness is a gift to yourself. Your goal is to find out who you are, having denied your identity by attacking creation and its creator. Now you are learning to remember the truth. For this attack must be replaced by forgiveness, so that thoughts of life may replace thoughts of death. Remember that in every attack, you call upon your own weakness, while each time you forgive, you call upon the strength of Christ. Do you not begin to understand what forgiveness will do for you? It will remove all sense of weakness, strain, and fatigue from your mind. It will take away all fear and guilt and pain. It will restore the invulnerability and power God gave his son to your awareness. So with this, there's in forgiveness, and this is where forgiveness is kind of like that missing link. It's like, okay, how do I step into my identity? There's forgiveness at like the intersection. That's why there's so much kind of harping on forgiveness in terms of what Jesus teaches, whether you believe he literally came or is that figure that is for all of us. And I actually do believe that he literally came, and I think it's the best story ever. And even if you don't, believing in what he represents, believing in the picture of Christ. What an incredibly powerful thing. Jesus is the representation of you and me, of how we get to live, should we so choose. And y'all, he was this miracle worker. He was powerful. He loved people into life. My sister said that phrase to me. She says, I want to love people into life. That's the most beautiful thing. But all of that hinges on forgiveness. And forgiveness is, we talked about this the other day, forgiveness is for you and me. So if I am withholding forgiveness for and against and to other people, I am going to be effectively poisoned from within, corroded from within, and I am unable then to walk in the fullness of the identity that God gives me. But with forgiveness, in letting go of the past, now I'm free. I'm no longer holding anything back. I'm no longer tethered to anything in the past. Now I'm free to step into the identity. It's like we're looking at this identity right before us, but we can't actually take it and choose it and step in it if we're tethered to something from the past because of unforgiveness. I'm just going to take a quick few minutes to say good morning in the chat. I'm so glad to see you guys. Sai, thank you. Good morning. Beg Top, hello. Good morning. Suniper, hello. Where are you from? I grew up in Maryland. Uncle Knuckle says, hey, you got a dog. No, I actually did. I did have a dog for a while, and I don't have one anymore. I'd love to know, Bang Top, or I'm sorry, Suniper Kichu says, where are you from? Where are you from? I'd love to know that. Tangy, Daily Bread. Sammy, good morning. Please know that your voice makes such a difference. Please know that now my life, I know that I can reach out. Please know that my nurses all say you make a difference for me. Y'all, Sammy is a friend of the Knowing Show and just so incredibly dear to my heart. He joined, I guess, a month ago now, Sammy, and just shared that today, or that day when he joined, was the date of his accident. And we love Sammy, and we're with you, and we really love you. Sohet, Jean-Christophe, hello from France. Mike, Larry, good morning. Retro Rocket, good morning. It's been a while. RP, Harvey, good morning. Thank you so much for joining. Willard Jason, good morning. Eman Castle Wall, hello. Eman Castleman, I love you. Eman Castle Wall says, don't bully my therapist. I love you. Thank you. Oh man, wow. This is like a mic drop moment, y'all. I'm pinning this one. RP says, ego, edging God out. Y'all, that is so good. You know, isn't that so powerful? You know, we think of ego as something big, and I think that if I was to picture ego, I would actually picture it as something big, some the big thing that I need to attack and need to like conquer. But really, ego is so small. It's powered by fear. Whereas, man, when we're powered by ego, we're going to be fearful. We're going to be small, because at the core of who we are, if we're like powered by ego, with that as our core, we've got a lot of fear. It's like this small little kid inside of us who's afraid that they're not enough, and so therefore we're going to inflate ourselves. And what's so interesting is that when God is our source, it's actually like, man, we're so much bigger. And it's in a way that really is truly humble, because there's a humility in letting go, in forgiveness, in stepping into the identity. Because it's like, okay, God, who do you say I am? There's a surrender in that, rather than clinging tightly to the past, clinging tightly to ego. We are letting go and saying, all right, God, I'm going to accept the role that you give me. And in that process, y'all, it's like, what is this biblical concept? It's this Bible verse that I learned when I was probably like 5 years old. The proud goes before a fall, but the humble will be exalted. And there is something in that. If we're humble enough to let go of ego, let go of everything from the past, all the pain that people have caused us, and forgive, God is going to exalt us in this role of this identity that's so much better and bigger than I probably would have ever assumed for myself. And probably same for you. So I love that. Ego, edging God out. Freaking so good. The ninja, good morning. I'm glad you're here. Richard, hello. Okay. Good morning. Christopher Adams, Matthew 5:14 is Christ telling us we are the light of the world, but John 8:12 explains further that Christ is the true light, so therefore we reflect his light in imitation. I've never thought about it from that perspective. Interesting. Well, if Christ is in us, then technically it's that light that we're illuminating, so it is in us. I'm going to look into that. That's a really, really interesting perspective. Aliva Chai, hello. Michael Jameson, I'm so glad to see you. You lose your old identity just as a new creation in Christ, just like you lose your former identity when you join the military. I love that. Raven, good morning. Sammy, I really want to tell people about my catastrophic accident that broke my neck in a devastating way, and now being a diagnosed C2, complete quadriplegic, and ventilator dependent due to the way I was hurt. Oh, I think, Sammy, I think you said that you were hit by a drunk driver. I think that was your experience, but I'm not quite sure. Yeah, y'all, this is just like a wake-up call. Depending on, I think that for you, you said it was a drunk driver, and for me, my brother-in-law was killed by a drunk driver. So just a heads up to be safe and really know that our actions have consequences. Christopher Adams, forgiveness is also done in love. So is done so in love, not only of others, but ourselves. I'm just scrolling down. Southern Paul, Buckeye, hello. He works in mysterious ways. Joan View, Bonatarda, good morning. Yusuf, Sammy, hello. Christopher, I'd equate the lack of forgiveness as a chain restricting us in our prison of pride. Ooh, that's a really, really good word. So good. South Paul says, Chicago here, RP Northern Illinois. Good morning. Nice. We've got Illinois representation. Fergus Gunning. Hi from Dublin, Ireland. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Man says, ego is the strongest thing wow, that moves the world more than Satan, man. South Paul, Ronnie Pickering loves you. Good morning. Thank you. Duke Blocks. Good morning. Thanks for joining. Milton, hello from London. Milton, I hope to go to London this year. Thunder Mama, good morning. Willard, Jason, Ezekiel 3:16. I'm going to have to look that up. Vitality, good morning. Milton, thank you. Christopher says, those are humble will be exalted. Those who exalt themselves will be humbled. Thank you. I was like reaching for it. The parable of the Pharisee and the tax collector in the Gospel of Luke affirms this. You know, that's exactly the story I was thinking about, because what's so interesting is that ego in this story is that ego is standing tall and proud and says, God, I thank you I'm not like other men. So ego can take so many different manifestations. It can be false humility, which is like, oh, I'm so glad I'm just not like that person. You know, it's like, okay. But then it can also be really taking up the space and inflating themselves and stepping into the spotlight in a false way where, frankly, that's not the identity God gave you. Therefore, that's not your spotlight. So it's really interesting. Ego, to use RPs, I love that, edging God out. Ego can really show up in so many different ways. And so that's why, you know, this morning and every morning, we take time to pause and just get quiet and really reflect on, how am I doing today? You know, where am I, to use your point, edging God out? Where am I not fulfilling on my identity? Where am I not walking in that and fulfilling on that? Annika, good morning. Dominic, good to see you. Dustin Fisher. Uh-oh. You're throwing a hard one at me. Willard, we just don't really talk like that here. I'm so happy for you to be here, but we're not gonna talk about that stuff here. All right, we're starting to get a little bit crazy here in the chat. So, you know, I think that this is actually a good time to jump off. Dustin, I'm going to look up this verse and I'm going to be hopefully ready to talk about it tomorrow. But I think we're pulling the trolls out. So I'm going to go ahead and jump off. But guys, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for coming on this morning. This whole conversation, forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Y'all, that's a high call. And as we were talking about the other day, forgiveness is for us in so many ways. It's for us to let go of others that we're holding on tightly to. It really frees us from the past in so many ways. And so I would just ask you guys this morning, after we jump off here, to really meditate on, who do you need to forgive? What do you need to forgive? And where, even if it's maybe even aspects of maybe things you've done that you need to forgive, so that you can move forward. And because again, forgiveness frees us from Christopher Adams, the cage of pride, to step into our identity. And we really cannot walk fully in our identity if we have not forgiven. So it is for the sake of the fulfillment of our mission, the fulfillment of this call on our lives, that we forgive. Ruat says, can you tell us your testimony? I love that. Y'all, I'm going to save some of these comments. Dustin, I'm going to save your question. And Rufat, I'll look at answering this tomorrow. So thank you guys so much. Tonight, we're going to talk about identity on The Knowing Show. I think so long. I don't think I have a guest tonight. Let me check. Let me check my calendar. Yep. Oh, no, I do. I do have a guest. No, I don't. I don't have a guest. Tonight, we're going to talk about identity. So come join me tonight, and we'll kind of continue on with this conversation, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And with that, have a wonderful, wonderful day. I love it. Dustin says, find more to make yourself smile more. I love it. Or find something to make yourself smile more. That's for today. AJ, I'm so sad to miss you, but good morning. I'm glad you're here. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining.